Welcome in, guys and gals, and thanks for joining us here for episode 12 of the Cardboard Critics Sports Card Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Hollywood, joined alongside by someone who just got back from Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Jonasty here with me, as always. Ooh. The games of the 33rd Olympiad are well underway in Paris. A lot to talk about card-wise with that even. Simone Biles, Katie Ledecky kind of leading the charge for the American contingent thus far. The MLB has officially passed the trade deadline as we head into the final third of the baseball season, and so much more to talk about in the world of sports, sports cards, the hobby. But starting off today with hobby news, sort of a piggyback on what we talked about just a couple weeks ago, but things are getting even crazier with this whole CT scan, X-ray, 3D scanning issue we had the other week. They were using it on flawless cards. And one of the biggest card shops in the hobby is moving spaces to an even bigger space, but we'll start with the CT scanning X-ray thing. A new video surfaced in the past week. At least it was new for me. I hadn't seen it. We do have to stick to our 2 minutes today. It showed Pokemon cards being scanned in a 3D X-ray, and because of the holographic nature, you can make out what the Pokemon was on the card. You're seeing it on your screen right now. You're seeing them, scan this Hypno Holo card. This just seems to be getting crazier and crazier. Do you have any thoughts? On this? Because I'm kind of in the boat where I think card companies seriously need to look into finding a way to conceal these a little better, number one. Number two, this could significantly impact the price of sealed wax and sealed packs. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a good point you bring up right off the bat, is the price, right? Because essentially they're being wrapped in as cheap of a manner as possible. A little bit of foil, a little bit of logo here and there, off we go. So if they have to put more effort into it, it is going to affect your price as you buy them. My opinion stays the same as we talked about this the other week or so ago. Still hate cheaters. How dare you? And also for Pokemon, I'm going to revisit the point I made before, which is half the battle of this is sort of the childish joy you get from it, especially for Pokemon. Like, just calm down and enjoy your Diglett. All right? It's a little bit ridiculous. And my question is, what do you do? Because this isn't illegal, right? It's just...
No.
Like, you can't... Well, only punishment you can get is being shamed.
What's interesting to me is the companies that own these scanners are actually allowing people to do this, which means they're accepting money from people in order to scan these cards when they know they're affecting the product as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, it's just mean, though. It's not illegal.
Yeah, it's bad look. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Card companies need to do a better job. Don't scan your cards. Don't be a bitch to the hobby and do that, because it's just not. It's in the greater good, not in the greater good for the hobby in general. But we're gonna go to our second hobby news story.
I love this.
Of the week, and Burbank Sports Cards, one of the biggest sports card shops local to Los Angeles, where we are based, is opening a new location. They're moving locations, actually. They bought a Rite Aid, who we know Rite Aid has gone out of business. I believe it's 14 or 15,000 square feet. They're going to move.
I believe it.
They're going to move 40 million cards into this shop. I think it's good in general for LA that we have a shop of this magnitude. I personally think West LA is missing a shop of this magnitude.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on Burbank's expansion, card shop expansion in general?
I still know one Rite Aid that actually is still in business, believe it or not.
Do you?
Yeah, but to that note, I know of a Rite Aid that's no longer in business. So it's on the west side. It's next to a metro stop. It's next to a Starbucks. All I'm saying is maybe keep up this Rite Aid trend and keep moving through. It's cool. I mean, we see so many boarded up stores, and unfortunately, a lot of places in a lot of cities haven't really recovered since the pandemic. So you have these buildings. If you got the business, then utilize it. I mean, could you imagine pulling, who knows, a Paul Skeens rookie card where you used to buy shampoo. How cool is that? Maybe, do you keep the ice cream, the Rite Aid ice cream?
That was my question. Rite Aid ice cream is probably one of the most underrated food anythings that was in existence. That's what I miss the most. Like, of anything that was there.
Well, there's
and you could truly get anything at Rite Aid. Like, I mean anything.
There's one still in Overland if you want your ice cream.
And now you can get 40 million sports cards from Rite Aid. So there you go.
You're not going to get all 40 million. Maybe.
Well, maybe. You never know.
Probably not.
But moving on to our MLB update for the week. The Baltimore Orioles and New York Yankees, of course, are locked in a tie for first in the AL East. Minnesota, the Twins are rolling. Seattle is back on top of the Astros. The Phillies struggling mightily. The Brewers of Milwaukee holding strong. Really the only division that looks kind of the same.
Yeah.
The Dodgers have struggled as of late. San Diego and Arizona are now within 5 games of the Dodgers. Of course, the trade deadline officially passed. What were the big deals? Well, Flaherty to the Dodgers, Arozarena to the Mariners, Paredes to the Cubs in a shocker.
Yeah.
Jaz Chisum, of course, to the Yankees. Zach Eflin was moved to the Orioles. Which of these do you think, a couple questions. Which of these do you think is the most impactful at the deadline for which team, which player and which team works the best? Mm-hmm. And then I want to ask you about the White Sox and the Angels, because the White Sox have now lost 20 games in a row.
They have.
20 games in a row. They did not trade Crochet. They did not trade Robert at the peak of their value. Next year, they will be free agents the following year.
Right.
So they've now lost the advantage of team control, which means they will now get rental value for them. Yep. So what the heck are the White Sox doing? I posted something about this the other day. It's like, this is like watching what Artie Moreno did with the Angels. Speaking of which, the Angels, another team that who knows what they're doing. They really didn't trade anyone either. They could have gotten a decent haul for probably Luis Rengifo, something like that, or Tyler Anderson. So what are your thoughts on the baseball trade deadline, how baseball's shaping up?
Yeah, that's a really good point about Rengifo and Tyler Anderson, by the way, because the White Sox are getting a lot of flack rightfully for not trading Crochet as well as Luis Robert, and then on the heels of that, as you said, they've lost 20 in a row, which is actually believable for that franchise. But that's a total sham by the Angels to not move those guys. They're going nowhere. Their superstar can't play. This, that, whatever. These divisions are tight. We hit the airwaves at the beginning of our show, like literally like the birth of our show, being like, oh, the divisions are sewn up. This was me. I'm well aware that I said this. And there's some races going on. Mm-hmm. Like the Dodgers are not that good right now.
No.
And to be fair, the roster is devastated. It's devastated. And which leads me to, what do I think the most impactful trades were? I think probably a Arozarena to Seattle, because they have jumped right back into first place.
Yeah.
I would say the Flaherty deal, if he stays healthy.
Shutout yesterday.
Yeah, against the A's, but you still got to beat them, sure.
A's actually haven't been that bad lately.
No, they haven't.
They can score.
Again, it's awesome that they're doing this in their farewell to Oakland, which is a whole other topic, obviously. But considering what the Dodgers' rotation is now, which is rookies plus Clayton Kershaw, who's not a rookie, I think that was a huge deal. And then a name you didn't say, I think was massive, was the Tanner Scott deal, the Padres. Yeah. They needed arms. They got the best relief arm on the market.
They got probably the 2 best relief arms on the market.
Yes, you're correct. So I would say that Padres deal, they're playing well. And I actually, as I took a look at the standings, didn't realize how ice cold the Phillies were. They are 2-8 in their last 10, although they did win on Sunday. And lo and behold, here they come down the pike. And the ice cold Phillies will be at Chavez Ravine for the top 2 records in the National League this week. Should be interesting.
That's right. Bryce Harper having a brutal run the last couple weeks. And of course, we were talking about the White Sox a little bit. Luis Robert and Garrett, White Sox management, Angels management, let's be honest, they need to go the other direction.
It starts at the top, though.
It does start at the top. But these teams need to be sold. Essentially, these teams need to be sold. Garrett Crochet and Luis Robert cards, by the way, we're not going to talk about them in our cold card section, but they have been ravaged in the past week because they were not traded. But we are going to move forward into our Olympics update. There are Olympics cards out there. You probably, maybe not, maybe you've seen them. But Simone Biles, Katie Ledecky, Noah Lyles are kind of headlining the U.S. Pursuit of gold medals. The U.S. is tied for the most right now with, I think, 19 golds.
Yes, they are.
But they have 26 more total medals than the next closest country, which I believe is China. I'm a proponent of the fact that we need more Olympic sports cards. And I'll tell you right now that Topps Chrome does release an Olympic set every year. It is called Olympic and Paralympic Hopefuls, which we're going to talk about one of those cards in a bit. But the main signers this year for that product were Michael Phelps, Katie Ledecky, and Xander Schauffele. Which, sure, that's cool. But if you were opening a box of that, like, who would you really want to pull out of it? You know, I want Usain Bolt autographs in there. I want Simone Biles autographs in there. And furthermore, I want Michael Jordan Dream Team autos. I want LeBron James autographs.
Christian Laettner.
Christian Laettner. Like, they need to just make this product amazing, because I'm sorry, but they get 4 years to get this right every time. You only got to pay these athletes one time every 4 years, essentially, to be able to use their autograph or have them be part of the product. I think it's such a missed opportunity. What are your thoughts?
It's tough, right? Because, like, you expect the names that are going to be at the Olympics, but they do have to qualify. And we saw it, I guess it would be 4 years ago, where Sha'Carri Richardson, the presumptive sprinter for women's track and field, didn't even make the team because, I believe, of performance-enhancing drugs.
Right.
So it's tough to put in all this effort. And yes, 9.5 out of 10 times, the people you expect to make Team USA do make Team USA.
Right.
But I'm sure there's that element of you never know.
The big names, you know, for the most part.
You know, like Simone Biles is otherworldly, as we'll talk about. You know, the person that I would actually want to pull for the Olympics, the underrated superstar of this cycle, it's got to be that glasses pommel horse guy.
I thought you were going to say the Turkish shooter who
the guy who
showed up with just his glasses and hand in his pocket.
That was by far the best contrast. The Korean woman looking like a main character, just like, boom, I did so amazing. And then the Turkish guy who's clearly an assassin.
I just think they could do a way better job with this Olympic set, honestly. And I think Topps really needs to figure out how to get some of these bigger signers in it.
You know who needs to sign it? Equestrian horses. I want a big hoof on my card.
A hoof relic.
Yes, I want a horseshoe.
A game-used hoof relic.
What is it? Was it dressage? Were they
Dressage.
I'd love a dressage dress.
There we go. But we're going to move now to our card market update. We're going to take a look first, as always, at the SCI Top 500 Index. That was up 0.2% on the week. We're gonna throw the graphic up again, just of that kind of 4 pictures of what cards we're talking about. It's all the top 500 biggest cards in existence for the most part.
Right.
But moving on to the baseball diamond, 2018 to 2020 was up 0.6%, 2010 to 2017 down 1.3%. 2000 to 2009 up 0.3%, and 80s and 90s junk wax feeling it this week, plus 1.9 and plus 4% respectively. 60s and 70s seeing a 1.6% dip, and the tobacco card era stuff up modestly, 0.3% this week. We have all tobacco cards in front of us on the show this week. This is, of course, the 1909 T206 set. This is a reprint set.
Yes.
Otherwise, we would probably be on vacation in like the Maldives for the rest of our lives.
I would not be allowed in this room
if it was real.
If that was real.
Moving on to the hardwood basketball, 2018 to 2020 and 2010 to 2017, both up 2.8 and 2.3% respectively, with 2000s seeing a 2.1% dip, but it was a feel-good week for the oldies, 80s and 70s, and older, up 2.4% and 1.4% respectively, with that famous 86 Fleer set, that Michael Jordan rookie card, somewhat flat. As we move to the gridiron now, football coming up in just 6 weeks, I believe. 2010 to 17, seeing the biggest gains at 2.7% this week. The 90s was down a point, while the older stuff also down a bit. 2020 Prism, though, up ever so slightly. Of course, people are starting to throw some money at Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, that whole Justin Herbert, that whole 2020 class, Justin Jefferson as well. But you know what's making an appearance this week?
What's that?
On our sports card update? Hockey.
Ooh.
Yep.
Is it doing well?
The Frozen Tundra. Well, that's not really Tundra.
Frozen Tundra is actually redundant. By being a tundra, it is inherently frozen.
Yeah, that's
which
right.
is why I hate watching Packers games in the winter. Because they call it the Frozen Tundra. And I'm like, no, that's not right.
But hockey, 2018 to 2020, down 0.3%. 2010 to 17 and 1000 to 09, up 3 and 2.5% each, with the 90s down 0.5%. The modern stuff is continuing to drop off a bit with the season ending. But moving forward into our hot cards for the week, what has been driving the market forward? And today we're gonna start with Jaz Chisum, of course, outfielder for the New York Yankees. His 2017 Bowman Chrome first prospect autograph in a PSA 10 was up 88.7% over the last 7 days. It is now $233. This was a $125 card a week ago, even less than that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
What's Jaz done this year? Honestly, it's been a pretty decent year, I guess you could say, for Jaz. He's hitting .252, 17 bombs, 58 ribs, 22 stolen bases, but his OPS is in the mid 700s.
It's average.
It's average.
It's replacement level.
But what has he done in his first week with the Yankees? He's gone 8 for 26 with 4 homers, 8 RBIs, a steal, and a 357 OBP. In my opinion, Jaz Chisum, I think this is going to kind of be a blip in his pricing. I just don't think he's been consistent enough to really necessarily merit these cards going up further in value. Sure, maybe they have another 25% to go if he hits another 3 homers next week. But I'm not buying at 233. That's just me. What are your thoughts on Jaz?
No, I'm not either. And I should note that I said 755 is replacement level. 755 OPS is above average.
It's above average.
I don't want to denigrate that. Look, this is the guy when he got on the cover of the show a year or two ago. They did a players poll and they said, who's the most overrated player in baseball? And it was a pretty overwhelming majority that said Jaz Chisum. Now, these are human beings when it's all said and done. And I think you do have to take note that the Marlins situation was untenable. And for a guy that plays with such passion and energy for a team that was offloading players within the first month was probably weighing on him. And again, you kind of got to give him credit. You introduced him as an outfielder. He came to the Yankees and said, well, I'll play third base.
Yeah.
And he's done it well enough. He's hit a home run just about every single day. So is that electricity and is that athleticism and is that personality tailor-made for the Bronx like I think Juan Soto is? Or when things inevitably get tough, does it wear on the fans? Does it wear on him? I think it'll be the latter. Because I think that's what happened in Miami. And so we'll see.
And does it wear on the team?
Yeah, that's what, like on the team, on the fans, on him, like to pressure them.
Look what's happening with Gleyber Torres already.
Oh yeah, his time in New York's done.
Yeah. But we're going to move to our second hot card of the week, and it is the 2022 Bowman Chrome U first refractor of Caitlyn Clark in a PSA 10. I believe the second time that Caitlyn Clark has made the show in the past 5 or 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. But it's sitting at $541 right now. That's an 81.5% increase over the past month. I think we talked about her about a month ago, maybe a little more than a month ago. 81.5%. It was a $400 card back then. She is in her first year, obviously, with the Indiana Fever. She's averaging 17 a game with 5.8 rebounds, 8.2 assists, 1.5 steals. But what has she done in her last 9 WNBA games? She has averaged nearly 19 a game with 6.6 rebounds and almost 12 assists.
Wow.
We're going to put up on the screen now the graphics from her last 9 games. Look at those assist totals. This looks like Steve Nash.
Oh.
These stats look Nash-like. I mean, some of these games are like 20 points, 13 assists, 20 points, 15 assists. I mean, it's crazy. And Indiana is actually starting to win some games now. And so, no surprise, Caitlyn Clark continues to shoot up. I think Caitlyn Clark is still a buy in the hobby. What are your thoughts on Caitlyn Clark?
I agree. And so the last time we saw her was at the WNBA All-Star Game, which when she and I guess Angel Reese, you could say, that they led that All-Star team. That's the only team in the world that can beat Team USA women's basketball, and they did. I'm glad you brought up the assists, because while she didn't score a lot in that All-Star game, I think she only scored like 4 to 6 points.
Something like that.
She got 10 assists. I think tied with Diana Taurasi or Sue Bird for the most assists in an All-Star game, and that's as a rookie.
Yeah.
She should win Rookie of the Year. That's not a bias or anything like that. Like, she's, in terms of her effectiveness, the Rookie of the Year. And again, what does that say about Caitlyn Clark, her popularity, that her card's going up right now? And she's not playing games.
No.
No, she's not. WNBA is on a summer break while the Olympians are away.
That's true, actually.
Yeah, so she's not doing anything. She's sitting at home, not playing.
And they're still going up.
And people are noticing that she's not on Team USA. And they're like, well, that's ridiculous. I'm going to go get her card. So,
Talk about a snub.
I mean, I get the idea of like not wanting to deal with the circus.
Yeah.
But I also think there was a little bit, I think there's a lot of bit of like jealousy. And like,
I think so.
I'm willing to guarantee that.
I think so.
They should have included her, though.
Yeah. I still think she's a buy. She's great for the hobby. She's doing amazing things.
Yeah.
But we're going to move on to our third. We do have a third hot card of the week this week, and it is Simone Biles. Her 2016 Topps U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Hopefuls at base rookie card in a PSA 10. That is up 20% over the past 7 days to $124. It was $110 a week ago, even less than that the week before. Of course, what has Simone Biles done in the Olympics so far? I mean, what hasn't she done every time she competes for the most part? But her second all-around individual gold medal came just a few days ago. Just before that, she won team gold, of course, with Team USA, and then followed it up with, I believe it was a vault gold. Was it vault or was it?
I'll have to double check.
I think it was vault.
I'm not sure.
I'll check when you're talking.
Thank you.
But yeah, Simone Biles, and you know, it's a shame that these cards really are only relevant like around the Olympics.
Yeah.
Which is why I think if Topps upped their game a little bit and created more sought after autographs of these athletes, for example, I think it could change that narrative. But Simone Biles, the greatest gymnast of all time, not even a doubt.
No.
I would put her probably in the top 10 athletes of all time at this point. What are your thoughts on Simone Biles, and what are your thoughts on this card? It's actually it's a really cute looking card, honestly. It's a great photo.
She's amazing. She's the best. She is otherworldly. I can't believe it. I don't know what needs to happen in order to pay attention to Simone Biles more often. Like, obviously it's my choice to not watch gymnastics between, you know, the 4 years when the Olympics happened, but
It was vault.
it was vault. Well, yeah, that's because she gets like 80 feet in the air.
Yeah, exactly.
Look
at this. Look at that.
Oh, that's great. Was that like probably from like 2016 or so?
2016.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having an Olympic hopefuls card of Simone Biles?
Yeah.
Like hopefuls, she's like the greatest Olympian.
Look, for my money, I think she's probably the best female athlete ever. It's just tough because we saw Serena year in, year out. But whenever I watch Serena, it's like, okay, she's just overwhelming these other ladies. Every time I see Simone Biles, I utter a bodily noise that I've never heard before because I'm in such amazement.
It's insane.
And her traps, oh my God.
They were measuring the amount of height she gets on her tumbling passes on the floor. And she gets more height than the men do.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a pogo stick.
She's what, 5'2", 4.
No, she's 4'8".
But all muscle.
All muscle. She's just a ball of muscle.
Truly.
Yeah. Unbelievable athlete. I actually love that card. I would love to pick it up eventually. I'll just wait until maybe, 6 months from now when they're back to planet Earth.
Honestly, 3 weeks. Which is sad, right?
Which is sad, yeah, considering she's probably, she's for sure one of the best 3 female athletes ever.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly. But of course we had hot, and of course we have cold. We do have cold cards this week. We're going to start with Aaron Rodgers. His 2005 Upper Deck Rookie Premier card in a PSA 10 was down 30% over the past week to $135 a card. Yeah. That was closer to $200 a couple weeks ago. Of course, we had video servicing of arguments between Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson at practice, so people are probably thinking, ooh, these two aren't going to get on so well.
Yeah.
But, and then of course, Rodgers is coming off of a significant injury towards Achilles in the first quarter of week 1 last year. All those memes of him running in with the American flag, and then he was gone, a few plays into the game. But he is making his return.
He is. In
week 1, but he's older now than he has ever been.
That's true.
That's very true.
That tends to happen.
And that's kind of where this argument goes. If Rodgers is anything like he was before and can lead the Jets to the playoffs, this card will shoot back up in price. If not, it will continue to plummet. What are your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers?
It's weird because you bring up the Garrett Wilson video argument. And so, that was the first thing that popped in my mind. I don't really know why this card's going down in essence, obviously. But something really weird happened. I looked up Aaron Rodgers just to see what are the headlines. And there was basically 3 of the same article out. And it was a clear PR job either by Rodgers or the Jets or a collaboration about how he's pushing his teammates. How the fiery Aaron Rodgers is there pushing the Jets. And look, maybe he's changing the culture of the New York Jets because Lord knows that franchise needs it. Mm-hmm. But it also smelled unbelievably calculated. And so, if you're gonna have something that calculated and you're gonna deflect from what seems to be happening in the clubhouse, I don't love that for Aaron Rodgers. I don't love that he's older than he's ever been. And guess what? Tomorrow he'll be older than yesterday.
That's true.
Isn't it amazing? Time is but a flat circle. But I joke, but he is also 40, coming off an Achilles. It doesn't look great.
I'm not buying this card either.
Yeah.
I can tell you're not either.
No, I am.
You are buying it.
No.
Yeah, so we're both not buying Rodgers. He's cold. We'll see what happens for the Jets at the start of the season. But moving on to our second... You should have seen the
articles. It was pathetic. No, truly, it's ridiculous.
Moving to our second gold card of the week, it is Paul Skeens, actually. His 2023 Bowman Draft Chrome Prospect First Autograph in the PSA 10 is down 37% over the past week to $1,500 a card. This was a $2,000 to $2,500. I think this card did almost $2,500. It was like $2,475 or something.
I'm sure it peaked at the All-Star game.
On July 27th, which I think was right after the All-Star game. Later. But of course, Paul Skeens is the front runner for the NL Cy Young. He started the All-Star game, first rookie to start the All-Star game since Hideo Nomo in '95. Yeah. What has he done in 2024? He's 6-1 with a 1.99 ERA and a .94 WHIP, 107 Ks in 86 innings. If he wins the Cy Young, do I think that this card is going to be more than $1,500? I think yes.
Yeah,
I think it will be. If he stays healthy and keeps performing, right? But for me, the injury risk, say it does go back up to $2,000 or $2,200 if he wins the Cy Young. Mm-hmm. After you're paying your fees and your taxes and whatnot, you're really not making a whole lot if this card only goes up by 20%, let's say, 20 to 25%. You really need it to go up by like 40 to 50% if you're thinking about buying it and then turning it for a profit if he wins a Cy Young. So for me, I think that this card is still not a buy at $1,500. That's just my opinion. What are your thoughts on it?
I think that's fair. And here's the thing. He is coming off the shortest start of his young career, which was still like 6 innings.
It wasn't that bad.
No, and you mentioned the ERA is now 1.99, which is still fantastic. And by allowing, I think, like 3 runs in 6 innings, his ERA rose, which tells you how dominant he's been.
Yeah.
But he did have his shortest outing.
Yeah.
He is about to blow past the most innings he's ever pitched in an entire year. And I don't know how much this really affects the card market, but he's not winning games as a stat. So his career numbers, and that's a product of like his team and blown leads and things like that. But when you look at his rookie year and he's only going to be like 4-2 or something like that, it kind of makes a difference. When someone says he won the Cy Young Rookie of the Year and he also had like 15 wins, that makes a difference.
Yeah. But realistically, he's probably going to be like 9-2 or like 10-3 by the end of this season.
So if they make the playoffs, that makes a difference. If he has a moment in the playoffs, that makes a difference. Now, I'll be quick. I'm not a believer in pitch limits or inning limits. I'm a believer in stress. Like long innings, 20 to 30 pitch innings. And if he makes the playoffs, which is high stress innings, and he's leading a game 1 charge against whoever, that'll be stressful innings on his arm. That's when I get a little bit worried. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, look, bottom line, he throws triple digits pretty consistently throughout an entire game. Eventually, whether it's this year, next year, 5 years, 10 years from now, the arm will start to break down. He's still anatomically built the same as everyone else. Technically. But we're going to move on to our invest section, and we've got a couple cards in our invest section. We're going to, in the essence of time, we're going to talk about both of them at the same time. Number 1 is the Shohei Ohtani 2018 Topps Chrome pitching rookie card. That's card number 150 in a PSA 10. That is down 60% over the past year. It's $134. That card was $350 last year, right before he got hurt. What has Ohtani done this year? Well, he's hit 306 with 33 homers, 79 RBIs, and 31 stolen bases. He has a 1.018 OPS. He will win the NL MVP, barring injury. First 30-30 season of Ohtani's career, 40-40 is very likely. 50-50, unlikely, but it's theoretically possible.
40-50 maybe?
Yeah, the other card we want to talk about is Jackson Holliday. His 2022 Bowman Draft Chrome first prospect autograph in a PSA 9 is down 31% since the start of the season. It is $432 for that card right now. $650 about before his initial call-up. What did Jackson Holliday do on his first trip to the majors? He went 2 for 34 with an 0.59 average, struck out 18 times. What has he done in his most recent trip up? He's gone 7 for 18, hitting .389 with 2 homers, 8 RBIs, only 5 strikeouts.
There you go.
And his first home run of his career is a grand slam.
Not bad.
Am I investing in these cards? I'll start with Ohtani. Then let me start the timer.
Invest in a clock.
Yes, I am buying Ohtani for sure at the current prices that he is at. This card hit 350 at its peak last year when he was about to be given his second MVP award. Barring injury, he will win his 3rd MVP and his first National League MVP. I think this card is criminally undervalued right now.
Yes.
And as long as he doesn't get hurt, I'm telling you, you are going to turn big money if you buy that. This is not investment advice. If that doesn't happen, it is not my fault. But I'm doing it. Jackson Holliday, to be honest with you, I don't buy it still.
Really?
Even at a 30% discount, I don't buy it. Because at the end of the day, to have value in the hobby, you need pop. You need power. And yes, he's hit 2 home runs. Yes, one of them was a mammoth shot. That grand slam was crushed.
Yeah.
But Jackson Holliday has just 23 home runs in over 800 at-bats in the minors. He's not really a power guy. He's a great hitter, unbelievable bat-to-ball skills. But I'm not buying Holliday. I'm buying Shohei. What are your thoughts?
Shohei for sure. And so I'll just wrap it up with this, in that you're essentially, for both of them, it's the unknown and the potential. Ohtani, I know, is amazing, but his potential is someone who's about to make the playoffs for the first time ever and has some, hopefully, special moments ahead of him.
Yeah.
Jackson Holliday is all, who knows, right? I'm going to take the guy I know is fantastic. I'm going to take the guy who has performed in the World Baseball Classic, and I'm banking on the fact that he will have several moments, and I know he's going to make the Hall of Fame right now.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. Jackson Holliday, look, the kid's what, 20 still? 20, 21. Loved watching his dad hit. I know the power's in there, at least genetically. That's just really tough. I honestly have not seen a lot of him. The swing looks compact and smooth, but the numbers are what they are.
Yeah. I've just learned at this point to not bet against someone named Shohei Ohtani. Last time he came back from Tommy John, he was significantly better than he was before Tommy John.
And he'll be pitching again.
Exactly. And so I think that's the upside in this. Look, Ohtani cards, when he comes back next year, if he is pitching and he is even remotely close to how he was pitching before, these cards, I'm telling you, are going to skyrocket again.
Of course.
Ohtani, even though the season has started and he's up in a lot of cases, for a lot of his autograph stuff, his rookie stuff is up in a lot of cases by like 15 to 25%. I think the whole thing, I think all the cards as a whole will skyrocket when he comes back next year, especially if he has a special postseason this year.
He will win MVP. He will be the first full-time DH MVP. He will make the playoffs, and the first time he hits one into the stratosphere in October, that the price is going to go with the ball. And like we just said, he's going to pitch again.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
And he'll be at least good, if not great.
So buy that Ohtani rookie, but we are exhausted. He just came back from Vegas. No idea how he even did this, to be honest.
Yeah, the power of Elvis.
I ate a lot of Italian food today, so that's a good excuse
You're
to be tired as well. But that'll do it for us here at the Hollywood Rip Studio for episode 12 of the Cardboard Critics Sports Card Podcast. Thanks for joining us once again. If you enjoy the content, we'd love a like, a comment, so we can talk to you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, in the comments below. And we'd love it if you could smash the subscribe button down below, like this. Don't forget to ring the notification bell as well so you don't miss our next episode. So until next time, I'm going on a diet this week, Mr. Hollywood, and that's working a lot for the next month to recoup his Vegas debts, Jonasty. But see you right back here next week. Mr. Hollywood and Jonasty out.